Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the latest stage, the 4th anniversary part 2 stage of the 10th Anni event. In this stage we have a very interesting design and very interesting missions. So firstly, you can choose between one of two fights. So you can choose between taking on Goku GT, Pan GT and Trunks GT, or you can take on Super Baby 2, who turns into Giant Ape Super Baby. Obviously, with Goku GT, Pan GT, and Trunks GT, the whole build and circumstances are different to Super Baby 2, Giant Ape. So let's talk about the Goku GT, Pan GT, Trunks GT fight, and obviously we'll talk about the baby one. There are two missions with this, or three. There's actually quite a few missions with Stage 4 Part 2. So the first mission we have is to complete without using any support items. The second mission is to use characters who are from the Revenge category. And the other one is to use Goku's family category. Now, for me, personally speaking, I found it easier to do the no item run with the Goku's family team. Just because Goku's family team is a little bit stronger than, say, the Revenge team for me. And of course, you know, also on top of that, you can do with whatever you feel is okay. Let's talk about the two different fights, and then we'll talk about kind of like the two different categories. I have included both fights in full, and I will timestamp them, but yeah, obviously it just depends on what team you go, realistically how you're going to be able to handle this fight. So we have Goku GT, Pan GT, Trunks GT. There are two phases, both variants of fights are two phases. The Goku GT, Pan GT, Trunks GT, the first phase they hit for 625,000 on their super, 250,000 on their normal. They get attack and defense of 33% when HP is 70% or less, and they get an additional attack and defense of 33% when HP is 40% or less. So they slowly start to spike up and start to do more damage. They're immune to attack down, defense down, stunning, sealing, etc. And of course, when they go to their second phase, they become even stronger. So they do about 800,000 on super. They'll get 59% extra when they fall below 70% health, and another 59% when they fall below 40% health. So definitely much stronger. On top of that as well, they also get evasion. So they definitely get a lot worse to handle, and they get stronger over time. And those jumps can be quite impactful. Like, you will notice when they take those jumps, especially in terms of damage. You'll take a lot of damage. So for me, yeah, obviously overall I just think they are very, very, very hard. If you are taking them on with a team that doesn't have good levels of ramp up, like, they can really quickly spike in damage, and because of this I think it becomes quite difficult to be able to handle everything, personally speaking. Obviously for me, I think I went with the Revenge team for this fight, mainly just because I planned on using items, and I knew that this would give me the ability to just kind of ease my way through this one. I didn't have to worry about the spikes in damage, because I knew I'd be using items to kind of counteract that. That's why I suggest using items with the Revenge team, because Revenge is a category that's pretty strange. You've got obviously a great unit in INT Goku, who's a fantastic unit. You've got Bardock, who's the other lead. But your units all over the place. You've got Gohans, you've got Trunkses, you've got revived Broly's, but only Broly's from the second movie onwards. You've got, babies, you've got Paraguses, you've got orange Piccolos. Like, it's just a very strange combination of units, to be honest with you. And so building the team around them, kind of constructing the team to complete the Revenge challenge, I think personally is pretty hard. Just because the way all the categories are, the way everything is, it's difficult. Like, it's hard to have everything kind of come together the way you want it to. It's hard to have everything kind of put together the way you want it to. So I will be honest, it's not necessarily my favorite category, and I think the challenge because of that can be hard. Obviously you can choose the baby side of things if you want to, but yeah, for me, I just felt like with using items, with obviously having a mix of extreme and super contingent, I just felt like going against Goku, Pan, and GT would be a lot simpler and just easier to do. I wouldn't say either variant of fight is super difficult, but it is obviously something that I find to be very largely dependent on what unit you have. The categories are tough as is, so it is understandable that building a revenge team might not be primarily easy. Let's put it that way. So yeah, obviously aside from that, I think the fight against Goku, Pan, and GT went fine. Like I said, ideally you don't mind doing these things, but at the same time, generally speaking, what I would say is I feel like you're gonna struggle more with revenge challenges than you will with Goku's family, because Goku's family is just a bigger category, with more synergy and just with a better roster of units. Really, there's great revenge units, it's just mixing them all together in one team can be quite difficult. I think that for me is probably the biggest kind of highlight or stumbling block that players will probably find, just because of that difficulty in getting a strong revenge category team to be able to have good synergy, to be able to have good interactability, to be able to kind of mix well together. There's not a ton of supports or anything for it, like just really it's one of those ones you just need to be a bit wary of. But otherwise, honestly, I would say pretty straightforward. You have to do too much. I used items in the second phase. I used items when they got low on health, just to take the sting out of their attacks. Like once they got below a certain threshold, you would just see me use an item, and this just gave me a little bit of a safety net when they were spiking in that damage, especially from super attacks, which can spike up and do quite a significant chunk of damage if you're not watching. So yeah, that definitely for me was something obviously that we had to be wary of. But I'd say outside of that, everything ran pretty smoothly. Now obviously talking about the next part, so obviously Goku's family, I'm not going to talk so much about Goku's family because Goku's family's category is a very easy one. There's tons of subcategories you can build under. You could build an Earth Protecting Fighters team, you could build a Hybrid Saiyans team, you could build a Majin Buu Saga team, you can build a ton of teams underneath Goku's family. Like, it's a very diverse category, there's tons of leads under it. I don't think building a strong enough team for Goku's family is the issue. Just going to depend on what you want to do. Now with Goku's family, I wouldn't actually suggest taking on Super Baby 2, largely because he gets with the Goku's family team, I do suggest taking on Super Baby 2. I do also suggest you take him on with a Super Saiyan 4 Goku as well, because it reduces his damage reduction rate, which I think is pretty good. So at least that's what I would state. Now the baseline form of Baby is pretty simple, 500k super, but he does grow in strength. So he starts with attack of 10% up with each turn. He has defense up of 10% with each turn, and this will scale up quite quickly. But he's only got 40 million HP. So you see I've built a Earth Protecting Heroes variant of team, allowing me to bring the Earth Protecting Heroes. The reason being is both phases of Baby are AGL. So I feel like everything runs a bit easier when you have a lot more tech units. Just one of those things. And then obviously you got Super Baby 2, Giant Ape, where he's hitting 1.1 million supers, but there's not really too much else. So yeah, Baby is very simple, hits pretty hard. He does have the ability in Super Baby Giant 2 form to be stunned, sealed, attack lowered, so you can bring those tools, because you can definitely get through the Baby phase, and then you can use stunning, you can use sealing, you can use attack lower, and you can use all these things to try and prevent Super Baby Giant Ape from really kind of kicking off. And you can see that here where we get the stun, and obviously it helps a lot to mitigate damage. Like whenever you're stunning, mitigating damage like that, it's a helpful mechanism. That's just always how these things are. So for me, 100%, it is definitely an incredibly helpful mechanism. But yeah, other than that, honestly, what I would say to anyone is use Goku's family for the no item challenge. It's 100% a very good team. Category is bigger, it's just easier. I just think it's easier to hit the required strength of a team with the Goku's family for no iteming than it is to do it with Revenge. Obviously, if you've got all of the premium Revenge units, of course you can go and probably get it done fairly easily. But if you don't have all the premium Revenge units, I do completely understand that you probably find getting the item run challenge done a lot easier with Goku's family, I should say. Overall, the team is very interesting, decent, and I think the challenges are relatively fun. Whichever boss you choose at the end of the day is entirely up to you, but of course, choose the one that best suits the team you're taking. Don't choose one that counteracts or goes against your team, and build in factoring which boss you're going to take on. There's no challenge specifically for defeating either or, so if you want to just do both or do one twice, it's entirely up to you. It really doesn't matter. That's it from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.